Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the most important journeys you'll ever embark on, the journey of self-improvement. There's a world out there telling you to chase success, to look outward for validation, to seek approval from others. But here's the truth: the greatest project you'll ever work on is yourself. Improving yourself is not about perfection. It's not about comparing yourself to someone else or trying to live up to unrealistic standards. No, it's about becoming the best version of you, a version that is constantly evolving, growing, and learning. The real power lies not in chasing success, but in chasing growth, in embracing the beauty of becoming better day by day. You may have dreams, goals, and ambitions, but none of those will come to fruition until you make the decision to invest in yourself, to take the time to nurture your mind, body, and soul. This journey is deeply personal, and it's yours to own. It's about shifting your mindset, prioritizing your well-being, and committing to a path that honors your unique gifts and talents. So today, let's explore 10 powerful principles to help you focus on improving yourself, principles that will help you become the kind of person who not only dreams but achieves, not only hopes but creates, and not only wishes but thrives. Embracing your own journey means fully owning the path you're on without apology, without hesitation, and without constantly looking over your shoulder to see what everyone else is doing. You see, we live in a world that's filled with distractions. Every day you're bombarded with messages telling you how you should live, what you should achieve, who you should be. But the moment you allow those voices to dictate your direction, you lose the most precious thing you have: your authenticity. You are unique. Your journey, your story, your experiences are unlike anyone else's. And that's your power. Too often we waste time comparing ourselves to others, measuring our progress by someone else's standards. We scroll through images of other people's lives and we think, maybe I'm not where I should be. Maybe I'm not doing enough, but that kind of thinking will rob you of your peace. It will rob you of your joy. And it will rob you of the opportunity to truly appreciate how far you've come. When you embrace your own journey, you give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. You honor where you are right now without judgment, without rushing. And let me tell you something: growth isn't linear. There are going to be times when you feel like you're moving forward and times when it feels like you're standing still or even taking a few steps back. And that's okay. That's life. It's not about how fast you're going. It's about the fact that you're still moving. And let me tell you another thing: nobody else can walk this path for you. No one else can live your life or make your choices. You have to take responsibility for your journey. That means trusting yourself even when the path is unclear, even when you're faced with uncertainty. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when the road feels long and hard. But those moments are where the magic happens. Those are the moments where you find out just how strong you really are. And listen, you are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to evolve. Who you were 5 years ago doesn't have to be who you are today, and who you are today doesn't define who you'll be tomorrow. The journey is fluid. You're constantly becoming, constantly learning, constantly growing. Don't let anyone make you feel like you have to stick to one path just because that's what people expect of you. Embracing your own journey also means learning to trust the timing of your life. There's a reason things happen when they do. There's a reason some doors open and others close. And just because someone else seems to be ahead doesn't mean you're behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Trust that. Trust the process even when it doesn't make sense in the moment. You see, life is not a race. It's a marathon. And we're all running at different speeds on different courses. What matters is that you stay on your own path. Stay focused on your own progress. Celebrate your own milestones, no matter how small they may seem. Because every step you take on this journey is a step toward becoming the person you're meant to be. So stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You have your own book to write, your own story to tell. And trust me, your story is going to be beautiful. But it can only unfold if you let go of the need to measure up to someone else's version of success. Embrace the twists, the turns, the detours. Embrace the moments of doubt and the moments of triumph. Embrace the lessons that come with every mistake. Embrace the parts of your journey that you don't understand right now, because one day it's all going to make sense. One day you'll look back and realize that every experience, every setback, every challenge was preparing you for something greater. And in those moments when you're tempted to doubt your progress, when you feel like you're not where you think you should be, remember this: you are on your journey, no one else's. And that's exactly where you're supposed to be. Your mindset is the foundation of everything you do, everything you achieve, and everything you become. It's not just a collection of thoughts or attitudes, it's the lens through which you view the world. And let me tell you, the way you see the world shapes your entire reality. If you want to change your life, you have to start by changing the way you think. You have to invest in your mindset the way you would invest in anything that's important to you, because it is. You can have all the talent in the world, all the resources, all the opportunities, but if your mindset is not aligned with where you want to go, none of that matters. You can't move forward in life if your thoughts are stuck in the past. You can't achieve greatness if your mind is cluttered with doubt, fear, and negativity. You have to do the work of cleaning up your thoughts, of nurturing the beliefs that serve you and letting go of the ones that don't. This is not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about rewiring the way you respond to the challenges and setbacks that life throws at you. It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity where you're constantly worried about not having enough, not being enough, not doing enough, to a mindset of abundance where you know that there's more than enough for you and everyone else. You see, scarcity keeps you small. It keeps you playing safe, but abundance expands your possibilities, your vision, and your belief in what's possible. Your mindset is also the key to resilience. Life is going to knock you down sometimes, that's inevitable. But the question is, how are you going to get back up? Will you let failure define you? Will you let a setback make you question your worth? Or will you use it as fuel to rise stronger? The difference lies in your mindset. A fixed mindset says, this is who I am and there's nothing I can do about it. A growth mindset says, this is where I am now, but I have the power to change, to learn, and to grow. Investing in your mindset means making a conscious decision every day to choose growth over comfort. Because comfort might feel good in the moment, but growth is where the magic happens. Growth is where you find out what you're truly capable of. And here's the thing: growth is uncomfortable. It's going to challenge you. It's going to ask you to stretch beyond what you think is possible. But that discomfort, that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where you transform. It's also about the conversations you have with yourself. The words you speak to yourself in your quiet moments matter. You have to become your own biggest supporter, your own biggest cheerleader. You can't wait for others to validate you or tell you that you're enough. You have to believe it for yourself. Because what you believe about yourself will dictate the actions you take or don't take. If you believe you're capable, you'll act like it. If you believe you're worthy, you'll stop settling for less than you deserve. But if you're constantly telling yourself you're not enough, that you're not smart enough, strong enough, or talented enough, guess what? That will become your reality. And part of investing in your mindset means surrounding yourself with the right energy. The people you keep around you, the environments you spend time in, they all have an impact on your thoughts and your beliefs. You can't expect to grow if you're constantly surrounded by negativity. You can't expect to reach your potential if you're around people who don't believe in you, or worse, people who don't believe in themselves. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you to be better, who push you to think bigger. You also have to be intentional about what you feed your mind. Just like your body needs nourishment to stay healthy, your mind needs positive, empowering ideas to thrive. Be mindful of what you consume, whether it's the media, the books you read, or the conversations you engage in. Choose content that inspires you, that fuels your curiosity, that expands your thinking. Because when you fill your mind with possibility, your actions will follow. And remember, investing in your mindset is not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. It's something you have to work on consistently. You have to wake up every day and choose thoughts that serve you. You have to be intentional about the way you react to challenges. You have to train your mind to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to see potential where others see problems. This isn't easy work. It's ongoing. But the more you invest in it, the stronger your mindset becomes. Ultimately, investing in your mindset is about believing that you are worthy of the life you desire. It's about knowing that you have the power to create the life you want, no matter where you start. Because when you truly believe that, when you understand that your mind is your most powerful tool, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Setting intentional goals is about more than just writing down a list of things you want to achieve. It's about connecting deeply with your purpose, aligning with your values, and making a conscious decision to pursue something that truly matters to you. Too often, we set goals based on what we think we should be doing, based on what society expects of us, or based on what others around us are chasing. But when you set goals with intention, you're not just chasing success for the sake of it, you're pursuing something that resonates with your soul. Intentional goals require clarity. You have to take the time to really understand what it is that you want, and more importantly, why you want it. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful or I want to be happy. What does success look like to you? What does happiness feel like? You need to be specific, because without clarity, you end up pursuing goals that don't align with who you are, and when you reach them, you realize they don't fulfill you the way you thought they would. Setting goals with intention means you're creating a vision that's uniquely yours, one that feels right for you, not based on what others think. When you set intentional goals, you're making a commitment to yourself. You're saying, this is what I want to achieve, and I'm willing to put in the work, the time, and the effort to make it happen. But it's not just about hard work, it's about smart work. It's about aligning your daily actions with your long-term vision. Every choice you make, every step you take, should be a reflection of the larger goal you've set for yourself. When you move with intention, you're not just busy, you're productive. You're not just checking off tasks, you're moving closer to your dreams. And here's the thing, intentional goals require focus. In a world that's constantly pulling us in 1,000 different directions, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to say yes to things that aren't really aligned with where you want to go. But setting intentional goals means being selective. It means understanding that you can't do everything, and that's okay. It's about choosing the things that matter most and letting go of the things that don't serve your higher purpose. It's about saying no to distractions, no to the noise, and yes to the things that bring you closer to who you're meant to be. Intentional goals also require flexibility. You can set a goal today, and as you move toward it, you might discover that you need to adjust your path, and that's not failure, that's growth. Sometimes the journey reveals new insights, new opportunities, and even new desires. You have to be open to evolving as you pursue your goals. Setting an intentional goal doesn't mean you're locked into one rigid path. It means you're clear about the destination, but willing to adapt the route as you grow and learn along the way. Another powerful aspect of intentional goals is accountability. When you set a goal that truly matters to you, you take ownership of it. You become accountable to yourself. And accountability isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. It's about recognizing that no one else can do the work for you. Your goals, your dreams, they are your responsibility. And when you take ownership of them, you step into your power. Intentional goals are also about patience. We live in a culture of instant gratification where we want everything right now, but meaningful goals, the ones that truly change your life, take time. They require perseverance. They require dedication. And sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come after the longest waits. When you set intentional goals, you're committing to the long game. You're willing to put in the time because you know that what you're building is worth it. You're not chasing quick wins, you're building something lasting, something real. And let's not forget the importance of celebrating progress. Intentional goals aren't just about the final destination, they're about the journey. Along the way, there will be milestones, moments of growth, small victories. And those moments matter. Take the time to acknowledge how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a testament to your commitment, to your resilience, to your dedication, to your vision. Ultimately, setting intentional goals is about living a life of purpose. It's about making sure that the things you're working toward are in alignment with who you are and who you want to become. It's about making choices that reflect your deepest values rather than just following the crowd. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your life and taking control of your direction. And when you set goals with intention, you're not just achieving your becoming, you're becoming the person you were always meant to be, one intentional step at a time. Prioritizing self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's not something you do when everything else is done, when all the boxes are checked, or when everyone else's needs have been met. It's something you must do first, because everything else in your life flows from how well you take care of yourself. We live in a world that glorifies busyness, where people wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. But let me tell you something, there is no honor in running yourself into the ground. You cannot give from an empty cup, and you cannot show up fully for your life if you're constantly depleted, running on fumes. But self-care isn't just about bubble baths and spa days. It goes much deeper than that. True self-care is about boundaries. It's about saying no when you need to without feeling guilty. It's about protecting your energy and making sure that you're not overextending yourself in ways that leave you drained. Boundaries are a form of self-love because they remind you and everyone around you that your well-being matters. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to be constantly available, constantly giving. You are allowed to take up space for yourself. Self-care also means taking care of your mental and emotional health. We often focus on the physical aspects of self-care, getting enough sleep, eating right, exercising. And while those are important, they're only part of the picture. Your mind needs care too. Your emotions need attention. How often do we ignore our mental health because we're too busy, or we push our feelings aside because we think we don't have time to deal with them? But when you neglect your emotional well-being, it will catch up with you. Stress, anxiety, and burnout are all signals that you need to slow down and pay attention to what's going on inside. Taking care of your mind means finding moments of stillness, moments of reflection. It means giving yourself the space to breathe, to process, to heal. It's about making time for the things that nourish your soul, whether that's journaling, meditation, prayer, or simply sitting in silence. You don't have to wait until you're at your breaking point to tend to your mental and emotional health. Make it a regular practice. Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I really doing? And then honor whatever comes up without judgment. And let's talk about joy. Because self-care is also about finding joy. It's about doing the things that light you up, that make you feel alive, that bring you a sense of peace and happiness. Too often we get so caught up in the grind of daily life that we forget to make time for joy. But joy is not something that happens by accident, it's something you cultivate. Whether it's taking time to read a book, go for a walk, dance, create art, or spend time with people who make you laugh, these moments of joy are essential. They refill your spirit in ways that nothing else can. Another part of self-care is allowing yourself to rest. Rest is not a sign of weakness, and it's not something you have to earn by working yourself to exhaustion. Rest is essential to your well-being. Your body needs time to recover, to regenerate, to heal. Your mind needs time to unwind, to release the constant flow of thoughts and worries. And yet so many of us feel guilty for resting, as if taking time for ourselves is somehow a waste. But let me tell you, rest is productive. Rest restores your energy. It sharpens your focus. It allows you to come back to your life with a clearer mind and a renewed sense of purpose. And let's not forget about self-compassion. Self-care is also about the way you speak to yourself. It's about the grace you give yourself when things don't go as planned, when you make mistakes, or when you fall short of your expectations. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up over the smallest things, and we carry guilt and shame for not being perfect. But self-care means learning to be kind to yourself. It means forgiving yourself for your imperfections and understanding that you are human. You deserve the same compassion that you so freely give to others. Prioritizing self-care also means letting go of the idea that you have to do it all the time. You don't. There's no prize for being the most overworked, the most stressed, or the most burnt out. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take time for yourself. You are allowed to step back and recharge. In fact, you must, because when you prioritize self-care, you're not just taking care of yourself in the moment, you're investing in your future. You're ensuring that you have the energy, the clarity, and the strength to keep moving forward. So start treating self-care like the priority it is. Make time for it unapologetically. Whether that's 5 minutes or an hour, whether it's something small or something big, just make time. Because when you take care of yourself, everything else in your life gets better. You show up more fully, you love more deeply, you create more freely, you live more freely, you live more fully. And that, my friend, is the greatest gift you can give, not just to yourself, but to the world. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful and freeing things you can do for yourself. It's about recognizing your own worth, your own time, and your own boundaries, and knowing that you don't have to please everyone. So many of us struggle with saying no because we're afraid of disappointing others, of letting people down, or of being seen as difficult. But the truth is, every time you say yes to something that isn't aligned with your values, your energy, or your purpose, you're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to the things that truly matter to you. Saying no isn't about being selfish or shutting people out. It's about protecting your energy. It's about recognizing that your time is finite, your energy is sacred, and you can't do it all. You have to be selective about where you invest your time and effort. You see, every yes carries a cost. It might cost you time you could have spent resting, energy you could have used for your own growth, or focus you could have applied to your own dreams. So when you say yes out of guilt or obligation, you end up shortchanging yourself. And let's be clear, saying no is not always easy. It requires courage, especially when you're saying no to people you care about or to opportunities that seem tempting on the surface. But if you don't learn to say no, you end up overcommitted, overwhelmed, and ultimately burnt out. And let me tell you something, when you're running on empty, you're no good to anyone, not to your family, not to your friends, not to your work, and certainly not to yourself. Learning to say no is also about setting boundaries. Boundaries are an act of self-respect. They let people know what you will and will not tolerate, what you're willing to give, and where you draw the line. But boundaries only work if you enforce them. And that's where no comes in. When you set a boundary and someone tries to cross it, you have to be willing to say no and stand firm. You don't owe anyone an explanation. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify why you're choosing to prioritize yourself. Sometimes saying no is about preserving your peace. There will be times when people come to you with drama, with negativity, with problems that aren't yours to solve. And you have to be able to say no, not because you don't care, but because you know that getting involved would drain you of the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose yourself over someone else's chaos. Saying no is also about making room for the right yes. You can't say yes to everything and expect to live a life of purpose. When you're constantly saying yes to things that don't align with your goals, you leave no space for the things that truly matter. You end up scattered, pulled in 1,000 different directions, and at the end of the day, you're too tired to focus on what's important to you. But when you say no to the things that don't serve you, you create space for the things that do. You open up room for the opportunities, the relationships, the experiences that align with your higher self. And let me tell you, saying no is an act of self-care. It's about recognizing that you have limits, and that's okay. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to take on more than you can handle just because someone asked. You don't have to sacrifice your own well-being to meet someone else's expectations. When you say no, you're choosing yourself. You're choosing to honor your needs, your time, and your priorities. Learning to say no also means letting go of the fear of missing out. There will always be more opportunities, more events, more invitations, but not everything is meant for you. Just because something looks good or sounds exciting doesn't mean it's aligned with your path. You have to trust that when you say no to something that isn't right for you, you're making room for something better, something more aligned with where you're headed. Saying no is also about being honest with yourself and with others. Too often we say yes because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings or because we think it's the polite thing to do. But when you say yes when you really mean no, you're being dishonest. You're not honoring your truth. And that dishonesty, that lack of alignment will weigh on you. It will show up in your energy, in your attitude, in your work. But when you say no with kindness and clarity, you're being true to yourself. And that truth creates freedom. And listen, it's okay if people don't like it when you say no. Not everyone will understand your boundaries, and that's okay. People who truly care about you will respect your no, even if it disappoints them. And if someone can't handle your boundaries, that's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You are responsible for taking care of yourself. So start practicing the art of saying no. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes to everything and everyone. But the more you do it, the more empowered you'll feel. And the more you say no to the things that drain you, the more space you'll create for the things that uplift you. Because at the end of the day, saying no isn't about rejection, it's about making room for more of what matters in your life. And that is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. The people you surround yourself with have an incredible impact on your life, your mindset, and your growth. You may not always realize it, but the energy, attitudes, and beliefs of the people around you influence the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you approach your goals. That's why it's essential to be intentional about who you allow into your space. Surrounding yourself with growth-minded people can be the difference between staying stuck and soaring to new heights. Growth-minded people believe in possibilities, not limitations. They see challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. When you're around people like that, their mindset rubs off on you. You start to think bigger. You start to believe in yourself more. You start to see potential where you once saw problems. Their energy lifts you up and it makes you want to be better, do better, and reach higher. These are the people who push you to keep growing, to keep evolving, and to never settle for less than you're capable of. And here's the thing, growth-minded people don't just cheer you on when things are going well. They hold you accountable when you're slipping. They're not afraid to tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Because they're invested in your growth. They're not going to let you play small. They'll challenge you to step outside your comfort zone. They'll ask you the hard questions. They'll remind you of the goals you set for yourself, and they won't let you off the hook when you're tempted to take the easy way out. These are the people who inspire you simply by being who they are. They're constantly working on themselves, constantly striving to learn, grow, and improve. They're not content with mediocrity, and being around them makes you want to rise to their level. It's not about competition, it's about being in an environment where growth is the norm. When you see someone else striving for more, pushing their limits, it makes you want to do the same. It shows you what's possible. Their ambition, their drive, their hunger for growth ignites something within you. And let's talk about support. Growth-minded people aren't just there for you when things are going great, they're there for you when you're struggling too. They don't see failure as something to be ashamed of. They see it as part of the process, part of the journey. When you fall, they don't criticize or judge. Instead, they help you see the lesson in it. They remind you that growth comes from failure, that every setback is an opportunity to learn and come back stronger. They don't let you wallow in self-pity or stay stuck in negativity. They encourage you to get back up and keep going. Surrounding yourself with growth-minded people also means being in the company of those who are willing to share their knowledge and experiences. These people aren't threatened by your success. They're not competing with you, they're collaborating with you. They understand that there's enough success to go around, and they want to see you win too. They're willing to share what they've learned, offer advice, and support you on your journey. In their presence, you feel empowered to ask questions, seek guidance, and grow without fear of judgment or comparison. But here's something important: surrounding yourself with growth-minded people also means letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. It's about recognizing that not everyone in your life is meant to be on this journey with you. There are people who will hold you back, whether they mean to or not. They may be stuck in their own limiting beliefs, afraid of change, or comfortable in mediocrity. And being around that kind of energy can keep you small. You might feel guilty about outgrowing certain relationships, but growth requires making hard choices. You can love someone and still recognize that they're not contributing to your growth. It doesn't make them bad people, but it does mean that your paths may no longer align. You have to protect your space. You have to be mindful of the energy you allow into your life, because that energy either feeds your growth or stunts it. When you're surrounded by people who are constantly negative, always complaining, or stuck in a victim mentality, that energy seeps into you. It weighs you down, drains your spirit, and makes it harder for you to stay focused on your own growth. You can't afford to let other people's limitations become your own. Growth-minded people, on the other hand, see the world through a lens of abundance. They understand that there's no shortage of opportunities, no scarcity of success. They believe that everyone has the potential to rise, and they're not threatened by other people's achievements. They want to see you win, and they're not afraid to celebrate your successes as if they were their own. Being around people like that is freeing. It allows you to shine without fear of dimming someone else's light, because you know they're shining right alongside you. And the beautiful thing about surrounding yourself with growth-minded people is that it becomes a reciprocal relationship. As much as they inspire and challenge you, you do the same for them. You create an environment where everyone is lifting each other up, where growth becomes a shared experience. You're not just focused on your own development, you're invested in the growth of the people around you too. It's a cycle of positivity, encouragement, and support that benefits everyone involved. Celebrating your wins is one of the most powerful things you can do for your spirit, for your confidence, and for your growth. It's a way of acknowledging the effort, the dedication, and the perseverance that you've put into achieving something, no matter how big or small it may be. In a world that often pushes us to keep striving for the next thing, it's easy to forget to pause and appreciate how far you've come. But those moments of celebration are essential. They remind you of your strength, your resilience, and your ability to create the life you want. When you take the time to celebrate your wins, you are honoring your journey. You're saying, I see you. I see the work you've put in. I see the sacrifices you've made. I see the courage it took to keep going. It's not about arrogance or pride. It's about gratitude. Gratitude for your own growth, for the lessons learned, and for the progress you've made. And here's the truth: every win deserves to be celebrated. Too often, we only focus on the big achievements, the promotion, the degree, the milestone moments. But what about the small victories? What about the moments where you took one step forward, even when it felt like the whole world was pushing you back? Those moments matter. They are part of the foundation that leads to the bigger successes. Celebrating your wins creates momentum. It fuels you. It gives you the energy to keep going. When you recognize your progress, you start to believe in yourself even more. You start to realize that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to, because you've already done it in so many ways. Each win, no matter how small, is proof that you're moving in the right direction. It's a reminder that change is happening, that growth is happening, even if you can't always see it in the moment. Celebrating those wins reinforces the idea that your efforts are not in vain, that you are making progress, and that you are capable of even more. And let's talk about joy. When was the last time you truly let yourself feel joy for something you accomplished? Not just a quick moment of satisfaction before you moved on to the next task, but real, deep joy. You deserve that. You deserve to feel proud of yourself. You deserve to take up space in your own life and bask in the glow of what you've achieved. Life moves fast, and we can get so caught up in what's next that we forget to appreciate the present. But joy is found in the present moment, and celebrating your wins is a way of grounding yourself in that joy. It's a way of saying, I am here and I am grateful for this moment. Celebration also has a ripple effect. When you celebrate your own wins, you inspire others to do the same. You give permission to the people around you to acknowledge their own victories, to recognize their own progress. It's a reminder that we're all on this journey together, and that success is not a zero-sum game. There's enough room for everyone to win, and when you celebrate your wins, you create a culture of positivity, of encouragement, of support. You become a beacon of what's possible, not just for yourself, but for everyone who's watching. But here's the thing: celebrating your wins doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to involve a big party or grand gestures, though. If that's your thing, go for it. It can be as simple as taking a moment to reflect, to write in a journal, to speak words of affirmation over yourself. It can be treating yourself to something special or simply sitting in silence and feeling the gratitude wash over you. The act of celebration is personal. It's about what feels right for you, what allows you to truly honor your journey in a way that resonates with your soul. And don't forget, celebrating your wins is not just about the outcome, it's about the process. Sometimes the biggest win is not the end result, but the fact that you showed up, that you tried, that you gave it your all. Maybe the goal didn't turn out exactly the way you envisioned, but that doesn't mean there isn't something to celebrate. There is always a lesson, always growth, always something to be proud of. Maybe the win is in the fact that you didn't give up, that you kept going when it would have been easier to quit. Maybe the win is in the resilience you built, the strength you found, the courage you uncovered. Those are wins too, and they are worth celebrating just as much as the more visible achievements. When you celebrate your wins, you also build a deeper connection with yourself. You start to recognize your worth, not just in what you achieve, but in who you are becoming along the way. You start to see that your value is not tied to external validation, but to the internal growth that happens with every step you take. Celebration is a way of nurturing that connection, of reinforcing the belief that you are deserving of all the good things that come into your life. It's a way of affirming to yourself that you are worthy of success, of happiness, of joy. And here's something important: celebrating your wins is not about being complacent. It doesn't mean that you stop striving, that you stop growing, or that you settle for where you are. Quite the opposite. When you celebrate your wins, you create space for even more success to flow into your life. You open yourself up to new possibilities because you're coming from a place of abundance, not lack. You're acknowledging that you've already achieved so much, and from that place of gratitude and celebration, you attract even more. It's a cycle of growth, gratitude, and abundance that builds upon itself. So celebrate. Celebrate the small wins, the big wins, the quiet victories, and the loud achievements. Celebrate the progress you've made, the lessons you've learned, and the person you are becoming. Because you are worthy of celebration. You are worthy of joy. You are worthy of honoring your journey every step of the way. And in those moments of celebration, you remind yourself that you are enough just as you are, and that every win, no matter how small, is a reflection of your strength, your courage, and your unstoppable spirit. Staying curious and open to learning is one of the most empowering gifts you can give yourself. It's the key to growth, to evolution, and to unlocking the limitless potential that resides within you. When you remain curious, you are essentially telling the universe, I am ready. I am open to what life has to offer. I don't have all the answers, but I am willing to learn. It's an act of humility, but it's also an act of strength, because it takes courage to admit that we don't know everything and that there's always more to discover. Curiosity is the spark that ignites the fire of lifelong learning. And with that fire, you keep yourself evolving, expanding, and reaching new levels of understanding. Curiosity is about embracing the unknown with a sense of wonder rather than fear. Too often we get stuck in our comfort zones, holding tightly to what we already know because it feels safe. We become afraid to explore new ideas, new perspectives, or new paths because stepping into the unfamiliar can be intimidating. But staying curious invites you to shift that mindset. It reminds you that the unknown isn't something to fear, it's an opportunity. It's where growth lives. It's where transformation happens. Curiosity pushes you to ask questions, to seek out new experiences, and to challenge the limits of what you think is possible. And that's where true learning begins. When you open yourself up to learning, you give yourself permission to evolve. You let go of the idea that you need to have everything figured out. You embrace the fact that life is a journey of continuous discovery, not a destination where you arrive with all the answers. Each day, each moment, holds the potential for new lessons, new insights, and new wisdom. Whether it's learning from a book, a person, an experience, or even a failure, there is always something to gain. And here's the beauty of it: when you stay open to learning, the world becomes your classroom. Everything around you, every interaction, every challenge, every joy becomes an opportunity to grow. Being open to learning also means being willing to change your mind, to expand your beliefs, and to let go of outdated ways of thinking. It's easy to get attached to what we think we know. We form opinions, judgments, and assumptions based on our past experiences, and sometimes we cling to those ideas because they make us feel certain. But the truth is, growth often requires us to release that certainty. It requires us to be flexible, to question our own beliefs, and to recognize that there's always more to learn. When you stay open, you create space for new perspectives to enter your life, for new ways of thinking to take root, and for new possibilities to emerge. Curiosity also invites you to see the world with fresh eyes. It encourages you to approach every situation, every person, and every experience with a sense of wonder. Instead of assuming that you already know how things will unfold, you approach life with the mindset of a student, always eager to discover what's next. This shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating. It frees you from the weight of needing to have all the answers and allows you to embrace the beauty of not knowing. When you stay curious, you become more present. You stop rushing through life on autopilot and you start paying attention. You notice the details, you ask deeper questions, you listen more intently, and in that space you find wisdom you may have otherwise missed. Staying curious and open to learning is also a path to resilience. Life will always throw challenges your way, obstacles that test your resolve, your strength, and your patience. But when you approach those challenges with a curious mind, you stop seeing them as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to learn. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, you begin to ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Curiosity transforms adversity into a tool for growth. It helps you navigate difficult times with grace because you understand that every experience, even the painful ones, holds a lesson. And when you're open to learning those lessons, you emerge from the storm not just having survived, but having evolved. Being open to learning also means seeking knowledge from places and people that might be outside of your usual circles. It means being willing to listen to perspectives that are different from your own. We all have a tendency to surround ourselves with ideas and opinions that reinforce what we already believe, but real growth comes from stepping outside of that bubble and allowing yourself to be challenged. It's in those moments of discomfort when your beliefs are questioned that you have the chance to expand your thinking. Learning from others, especially those with different experiences and viewpoints, deepens your understanding of the world and of yourself. It builds empathy, compassion, and a broader sense of connection to humanity. And let's not forget, curiosity keeps your spirit young. When you remain open to learning, you stay engaged with life, you keep your mind active, your heart open, and your energy vibrant. Curiosity is the antidote to stagnation. It keeps you moving forward, always looking for the next lesson, the next adventure, the next opportunity for growth. You never get too comfortable because you know there's always more to discover. And in that discovery, you find excitement, passion, and purpose. To stay curious and open to learning is to embrace the idea that you are never finished. You are never done growing, never done evolving. There is always more to learn about yourself, about others, and about the world around you. And that's a beautiful thing, because it means that no matter where you are in life, no matter how much you've achieved or how much you've achieved or how much you've experienced, there is always more to explore. There is always more to become. Your potential is limitless, and curiosity is the key that unlocks that potential. So keep asking questions, keep seeking knowledge, keep opening yourself up to new experiences, new ideas, and new ways of thinking. Stay humble in your learning, knowing that you don't have to have all the answers, that the journey is just as important as the destination. And most importantly, stay curious about yourself, because the more you learn, the more you grow, and the more you grow, the closer you get to becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. That is the true power of staying curious and open to learning. It allows you to constantly evolve into the person you are meant to be. Focusing on improving yourself is not just a one-time decision, it's a lifelong response to the inner work you're doing. So be relentless in your pursuit of self-betterment. Show up for yourself every single day, because you are your greatest investment. So seek out those who challenge you to grow, who encourage you to think bigger, and who support your journey without hesitation. Be intentional about the company you keep because your environment shapes you more than you realize. When you surround yourself with people who are committed to their own growth, they help you rise to new levels in your life. And in that space of shared growth, there are no limits to what you can achieve. Being kind to yourself is one of the most important acts of love you can ever give. It's the foundation for everything: your happiness, your peace, your growth. Yet so many of us are our own worst critics. We're quick to offer compassion to others, but when it comes to ourselves, we're harsh, judgmental, and unforgiving. We replay our mistakes over and over in our minds. We focus on our flaws, and we convince ourselves that we're not enough. But you must understand the way you speak to yourself matters. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how you allow others to treat you and how you move through the world. Being kind to yourself means recognizing that you are human. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to fall short sometimes, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion, and the constant pursuit of it will only leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled. True growth comes from embracing your imperfections and understanding that they are part of what makes you who you are. Your flaws, your missteps, your stumbles, they don't define you. What defines you is how you rise after you fall, how you learn from the lessons life gives you, and how you continue to move forward with grace and resilience. Too often, we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards. We expect ourselves to be everything to everyone, to never fail, to always have it all together. But the truth is, no one has it all together all the time. We all have moments of doubt, of fear, of insecurity. We all have days where we don't feel strong, where we don't feel capable, where we don't feel like we're enough. And in those moments, you have to be gentle with yourself. You have to remind yourself that you're doing the best you can with what you have, and that is more than enough. Self-kindness means speaking to yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend. Think about it: if a friend came to you and told you they were struggling, that they made a mistake or were feeling down, would you criticize them? Would you tear them down and make them feel worse? Of course not. You would offer them love, support, and understanding. You would remind them of their worth, their strengths, and their ability to overcome whatever challenge they're facing. So why do we find it so hard to do that for ourselves? You deserve that same kindness. You deserve to treat yourself with love, patience, and grace, especially in the moments when you feel like you're falling short. You are a work in progress, and that's something to be celebrated, not criticized. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen without bumps along the way. So when you stumble, when you make a mistake, instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And then move forward, knowing that you are always evolving, always learning, always becoming more of who you're meant to be. Being kind to yourself also means honoring your own needs. It's about recognizing when you need rest, when you need space, when you need to step back and recharge. So often we push ourselves to the point of exhaustion because we think we have to. We think that being busy, being productive is the only way to prove our worth, but your worth is not tied to how much you can do in a day. Your worth is inherent. It doesn't come from your achievements, your to-do list, or how much you can give to others. It comes from who you are. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to take a break, to allow yourself to rest without guilt, without shame, without feeling like you need to earn it. Self-kindness also means letting go of comparison. It's so easy to look around at other people's lives and feel like you're falling behind, like you're not doing enough, like you're not measuring up. But everyone is on their own unique journey, and comparison is the quickest way to rob yourself of joy. You are exactly where you're meant to be, and your path is your own. Be kind to yourself by honoring your journey, by recognizing that your timeline doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're simply on a different path. And that path is just as valuable, just as important as anyone else's. Part of being kind to yourself is also allowing yourself to feel your emotions without judgment. We often try to suppress or deny our feelings because we think they make us weak or because we don't want to deal with the discomfort. But your emotions are valid. They are a part of your experience and they deserve to be acknowledged. Being kind to yourself means giving yourself permission to feel whether it's sadness, anger, fear, or joy without labeling those emotions as good or bad. Your feelings are there to teach you something, to guide you, to help you grow. Don't push them away. Sit with them, honor them, and let them pass when they're ready. And let's not forget about forgiveness. Being kind to yourself means forgiving yourself for the things you didn't know, for the decisions you made when you were in a different place, for the times you weren't your best self. Forgiveness is an act of love, and it's one of the most powerful ways to be kind to yourself. You don't have to carry the weight of guilt or regret forever. You don't have to punish yourself for past mistakes. Learn from them, yes, but then let them go. You deserve to move forward without the burden of the past weighing you down. In the end, being kind to yourself is about cultivating a deep sense of self-love. It's about recognizing your own worth, your own beauty, your own strength, and treating yourself with the respect and care that you so easily give to others. You are worthy of love, not just from the people around you, but from yourself. And when you start to practice kindness toward yourself, you'll notice a shift in how you move through the world. You'll be more confident, more at peace, more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. Because when you're kind to yourself, you create a foundation of love and compassion that supports you through every challenge, every triumph, every moment of your life. So be gentle with yourself. Speak to yourself with love. Treat yourself with the kindness and compassion you deserve. You are worthy of it today and every day. Taking consistent action is where transformation truly begins. It's one thing to dream, to set goals, and to envision the life you want, but none of that means anything without action. And not just occasional action, but consistent, steady effort. It's in the daily, small steps where change happens, where progress is made, and where the life you've imagined begins to take shape. Too often, we wait for the perfect moment. We tell ourselves we'll start when we're ready, when we have more time, when the circumstances are just right. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. Life is always going to be busy, challenges will always arise, and waiting for the stars to align is just another way of staying stuck. If you want to create real change, you have to move now, even when you don't feel ready, even when things are messy, even when you're scared. The time is now, and your dreams are waiting for you to take that first step. Consistency doesn't mean taking giant leaps every day. It means showing up for yourself over and over, even on the days when you don't feel like it. It's easy to take action when you're motivated, when everything feels exciting and new. But what about when that initial excitement fades? What about the days when you're tired, when the obstacles seem too big, when doubt creeps in and you start to wonder if it's even worth it? Those are the moments when consistency matters the most. That's when the real work begins. You see, success isn't built on motivation alone. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. But discipline, now that's where the magic happens. Discipline is about committing to the process day in and day out, no matter how you feel. It's about taking one step forward, even when the path isn't clear, even when progress feels slow. It's in the accumulation of those small daily actions that the big results come. And the more you show up for yourself, the more you build trust with yourself. You start to prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are committed, and that you can follow through on the promises you've made to yourself. Consistent action isn't always glamorous. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it feels like you're moving in slow motion, like nothing is changing. But that's where faith comes in. You have to trust that every step, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your goal. You have to believe that even when you can't see the progress in the moment, things are shifting. Seeds don't sprout the moment they're planted. They grow in the dark beneath the surface long before you see them break through the soil. Your efforts are the same. The results may not be visible right away, but that doesn't mean they aren't coming. And here's the thing, consistent action doesn't mean perfection. You're going to have days when you fall off track, days when life gets in the way, when you don't hit every goal, when you slip back into old habits. That's okay. Consistency isn't about never making mistakes. It's about getting back up and starting again as many times as it takes. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. You just have to be persistent. It's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up and keep going. But it's important to remember that consistent action doesn't always have to be grand. It can be as simple as committing to 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes of working on your craft, 5 minutes of focusing on your health, 5 minutes of planning your future. Small actions repeated over time compound into big results. It's not about doing everything all at once. It's about breaking your goals down into manageable steps and tackling them one day at a time. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today, just take the next step. And then the next. And then next. And then next. Consistency also requires a level of self-discipline that goes beyond just doing the work. It's about managing your thoughts too. It's about silencing that inner voice that tells you you're not enough, that it's too hard, that you'll never get there. Because those thoughts will come, they always do. But when you've committed to consistent action, you learn how to push through the noise. You learn how to keep going, even when self-doubt rears its head. You realize that it's not about waiting until you feel confident, it's about taking action in spite of your doubts. Confidence comes from doing, from showing yourself what you're capable of. And let's not forget the importance of celebrating your progress along the way. Consistent action doesn't mean you have to wait until you've achieved your ultimate goal to acknowledge your efforts. Every step forward is worth celebrating. Every day that you show up for yourself is a victory. It's those little wins that keep you motivated, that remind you of how far you've come, and that give you the strength to keep going. So take a moment to reflect on your journey, to honor the progress you've made, and to give yourself credit for the work you're putting in. When you commit to taking consistent action, you become unstoppable. No obstacle is too big, no setback is too discouraging, because you know that you have the power to keep moving forward. You know that with every step you take, you're getting closer to the life you've always wanted. And that's what this is all about, showing up for yourself day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't see the results right away. Because in the end, it's not about how fast you get there, it's about the journey, the growth, and the person you become along the way. Keep going, keep taking action, and trust that everything you're working toward is already on its way to you.